Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk about what is Prometheus, Prometheus Architecture, alternate tools, how to install Prometheus in Windows, what is PromQL, how to use expressions browser. So let's talk one by one. Prometheus is an open source system monitoring and alerting toolkit with an active ecosystem. It is a tool that allows you to analyze how your applications and infrastructure are performing from the metrics discovered by it. Prometheus components are written in Go language, used as a multidimensional data model with a time series data, identify the matrix name and key value pairs. For example, HTTP request total, method and get. So matrix name is HTTP request total and method is a key and get is the value. Out of the box features, use a very simple query language PromQL. PromQL is a read-only and flexible query language that allow aggregations across any of the levels stored in the in a time series. No resilience or distributed storage. Single server node are autonomous. Default library and servers available for the Prometheus, Windows, Linux machines, MySQL, and etc. To monitor custom services, you can add instrumentations to your code via Prometheus client library like Go, Java, Scala, Python, Ruby, and many more. Full-fledged monitoring system with one alert manager. About Prometheus project, so was created in year 2012 at SoundCloud. Later on, it joined the Cloud Native Computing Foundations in year 2016. It becomes the second hosted project of the Cloud Native after the Kubernetes. It's a license under Apache 2.0 license. The alternative of like in Prometheus, we have a Graphite. Graphite is also a time series database that is stored it. InfluxdB also is stored the time series database. Open time series DB and Nagios. Okay. Many more other tools are there, but these are the famous and widely used. However, Prometheus is still leading in that in several aspects in terms of AWS or Azure Cloud and many more along with the Prometheus and Grafana, it's widely used. While talking about the Prometheus architectures, is to start with a Prometheus server where we have a time series database storage. It have that in HTTP server and the retrieval. So retrieval, Prometheus work on that in a pull based matrix. It will be pull it, okay, and then Prometheus alerting. We have a service discovery. We have a Prometheus GUI. Alternative of a Prometheus GUI, we have a Grafana that is widely used with a Prometheus and Grafana, and then we have a API client which you can use that in a as a API. While talking about that in a like in Prometheus how it will be work. So by default Prometheus work on the pool based matrix. So whatever's your target will be there, it will be go and pull the matrix. For example, Prometheus target, it may be the job or exporter. Let's say we have a node exporter, we have a Windows WMI WMI exporter and many more. So what it will be happen, as soon as you will be install that in a exporter, then the Prometheus servers will be go and pull the matrix. Okay, so however, with help of a push gateway, Prometheus also support the push matrix, but core architectures of a Prometheus will be pull only. But push gateway responsibility is that gateway will be pull that matrix from that in a like in short life jobs to the Prometheus gateway, and then Prometheus will be pull that in a matrix from that in a Prometheus. Then we have a service discovery. So service discovery, likewise Kubernetes, we have a several nodes, we have a several cluster, we have a several pods, but we want to configure it a dynamic. So with help of a file SD, we can configure that in a service discovery, or with help of a Kubernetes, or we have a AWS support, we have a Azure support. With help of that, it will be go and dynamically pull that in all their services, and then it will be display that in that in a Prometheus as a like in a matrix server. Then we have a Prometheus alerting. So in alerting is one of that in another great features which is inbuilt in that in a Prometheus. Although if you are integrating with a Prometheus and Grafana, we have a capability to go and use that in a Grafana alerting, but Prometheus support that in alerting, so with help of a alert manager, you can send that in alert to that in a email, Slack, PagerDuty, or etc. With help of a push alert. So Prometheus will be push that in a data to that in alert managers, and alert managers will be triggered to that in a respective target. Now these are that in a high level Prometheus architectures. As soon as I'll be go and do that in one by one example, I'll again come to that in the same architectures, and I'll explain you in that in my upcoming videos. So in another upcoming videos which I'm going to publish it Prometheus with a Grafana, where you will be see that in a how you will be collect that in a node monitoring for like any Unix kind of a server or Windows servers with a nicely in graph with help of a Grafana. So let's talk on that in a next. What we know now, what is the Prometheus? So in short, Prometheus is the monitoring system. It's open source, and it's work for that in a well for that in server and services. Prometheus architectures. Now we know that in a what is that alternate tool of the Prometheus, how to install Prometheus in Windows we are going to do it. So first of all, we have to go to that in a Prometheus website. You can go to the prometheus.io, and then you'll be see that in a download, or you'll be see the directly in download button. I have already clicked it, and it's Windows will be appear something like that. You can see that in a Prometheus I have again a wide features like in dimensional data, powerful queries, great visualizations, efficient storage, simple operations, price alerting, many client libraries, and many integrations. Followed by that in it's a open source as per that in their documentations, and Prometheus is 100% open source community driven. All components are available under the Apache 2 license on GitHub. And there is a many more clients like in our users working on that in a Prometheus. Few of them are listed over here. Now I'm in that in a download screens. As soon as you'll become to that in download screens, these are that in a library we have like in Prometheus alert manager, black box exporter console, and many more. We can use it. I'm going to publish that in a each and every like in one single videos because I want to make a small and widely used. So I'm going to use that in a let's say popular for that in a Windows, or we can use that in architectures, whatever you want. So let it be as it is. So you'll see that in a there is a Prometheus. Under that we have a one is a LTS release, and another one we have a simple release. So what is the latest versions as of now? We have 2.44.0, and which was there in the 13/5/2023, and long term like in LTS release we have in 2.37.8. So any one of them you can install it, which is not a hard and fast. Let me go and do that in a latest one. So I'm going to use that in a because I'm going to use the Windows, but almost a step will be remaining same. Just need a operating system, and unzipping and zipping command will be deferred. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose that in a Prometheus 2.44.0 Windows AMD 64 and zip. As soon as I'll click it, download will be happen, and you can see Prometheus 2.4 44.0 is getting downloaded, and it will be take a few seconds and it will be downloaded. Once it will be downloaded in my PC, what I'll do, I'll be go and extract it and somewhere I'll place it. So what I have done it in my C drive, I have created software folders and lab. I'm going to place that in the downloaded file. So this file got downloaded, I'm copying it, you can extract it directly, and I'm going to paste over here. So Prometheus file got downloaded and place it. Now what I'll go, I'll download folder, I'll close it. So you can see Prometheus 2.44.0 windows.amd64 got downloaded. In that folder, it will be have a console libraries and console license node prometheus.exe, which is a main file, and Prometheus .yml file, that is again configurations file. We are going to talk on that and we'll be add that in a few more. Now we have prompt tool as well. So what I'll do, the alternate options we have, we can add this one into the path for running the Prometheus in anywhere. But from as of now, I'll just type that in a CMD and just open it. Okay, so what it will be happen, the command got open with a same folder. If you'll see where my Prometheus all file is there, or if you'll just type the dir, so it will be display list of all files. Now if just we have to type prometheus.exe, I just type p and press tab button, so it's display prometheus.exe. Now installations part is completed. I'm going to run that in a Prometheus. This command need to be open, so I just click on that in a enter now, and you can see Prometheus servers is going to be started. It will be take a while. Yeah, it is asking to allow me, so I just click on that in a allow access. And now you can see a starting rule managers. So this is by default Prometheus run on that in 9090, and if I'll go and see that in a Prometheus folder and prometheus.yml, so here we have a configurations file, and you can see there is a by default Prometheus scrap is configured. So what is this configurations file? We have a global and a scrap interval, meaning every 50 seconds it's going to be run that in a scrap and collect that in a data. And evaluations interval 50 seconds again. Alerting, we don't have alert at the moment, so it's commented. We don't have a rule, so it's commented. Now that is a very important one, a scrap configs, right? So in a scrap configs, here you can see we have a job underscore name and then Prometheus. Now what happened by default, once as soon as you will be install the Prometheus, it will be start monitoring Prometheus itself. And you can see here static configs nothing but a hard coded, and we have a targets, and what targets it's going to monitor, localhost 9090. Now you can see our services is up and running, and it's listening on the 9090 port. If I'll go and open that in any browser and just type that in a uh, localhost colon 9090. Now you can see by default graphs on it is displaying, and this is nothing but a expressions browser where we can see that in a Prometheus is up and running. Wow, congratulations. Then we can see in alerting nothing is there because we have not configured. Graph we are there in at the moment, and then if you'll see that in a status, so runtime and build informations, you'll be see that in entire informations about it. Then time series database status, what is it is there, top 10 levels and many more. Then we have a command line flag configurations and target is very much important. Now here you can see it's http colon / localhost 9090 and matrix, right? So it's saying that it's up and it's running, and we have a label as a instance localhost colon 9090 and job equal to Prometheus, and last scrap value is 12 second ago, and it's getting the scrap continuously. That is a target. We can check it. Now we are going to see that in a Prometheus. So installations is completed, and we are able to see that in a expressions browser, and it's working. So the things we have to remember: Prometheus by default it will work on the port number 9090, and it will be have by default there a scrap configure into that in a scrap config as a target with a local host 9090. And if you are running into that in a public server, let's say AWS or Azure, then just you can use that in a your like in public IP address 9090, then it will be work. However, you have to allow the port number in security group 9090, especially inbound port, then only it will work. That is just for your information. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to refer the Prometheus configuration. So we talk about prometheus.yml file. If you'll see that in this documentations where you will be get that in a we are there in a scrap configuration. So this is nothing but a job name, interval, and many more it was there, and you can see here we have a how to use that in a that. So each and every details is mentioned in the this configurations file. Now we that is a time series database configurations. The release we are talking about 2.44.0, that it will be have these are the features like in they have remote write, remote head from tools, from QL, storage, scrap from QL, and many more. These are that in a release having that in a features added or remove it. Now if you'll go all the way up, closing the download page, and if you click on the getting started, you can see these are in example is there for like in a Unix kind of operating system, and these are that in a global configurations, and then by default a scrap configurations for that in a Prometheus. So that is done. Now starting the Prometheus we have started via the Prometheus command, but we have not used that in this file because the prometheus.yml file was there in the same directory, and it's always best approach to use that in a this path hyphen config file to prometheus.yml. Let's see, I'm closing I stopping it and then starting again. So for a stopping, I'm just click control C and clear CLS, and then I'm going to paste that command. Okay, so Prometheus, and then we have a .exe because it's a Windows system, and then we have to use that in a rest of the configurations command. It will be remaining same what we have in the without using it. So now, but the only good thing is that we are locating that in a configurations file of a Prometheus, and we are asking, hey, go and use that in this configurations file. So you can change that in the name of that in a Prometheus config file, and then also you can use that is a benefit of using it. Now let's go and see that in a some using the expressions browser. So we are in there in the graph, and if you'll see Prometheus target interval, interval length second. So if I'll go over here and just type like in Prometheus target interval length, or just paste it and click on the execute button. Now here you can see Prometheus is running, and it's started the instance localhost 9090 interval 15 seconds, job Prometheus, and quantile is 0.01, and these are the value we are getting. Now if I execute it again after 15 seconds, we can see that in a more results. Now I want to see that in, hey, this Prometheus is there but in a graph format. So just we have to click on that in a, this data is displaying in the tabular format. As soon as you will be click on the graph, then you can see the graph is generating. Now we have options to choose that in a just a a line graph, or we can see click on that in a stack graph as well. So as soon as you will click on the stack graph, and if you decrease that in a timing, you can see that in a graph is getting filled, right? So this is nothing but a Prometheus and showing the result in that in a expressions browser with help of a tabular format or with help of a graph format. Now we want to see that in a output in a 1 minute. Okay, so how to do? These are the nothing but a uh, uh, range vector. So with help of that, here you can see in 1 minute we can see it, but we cannot see all these details. So what we need to do, we need to do that in a rate, and then we can see, because we have to convert that in a vector to that in a scalar. So now you can see while doing that in a rate functions how it's a like in beautiful graphs we are able to see with a filling it. We can also convert into that in a line. It's going up and down, up and down. So these are the in a beauty of that in a Prometheus, and whatever we are writing into that in a this using the expressions browser, that is known as that in a PromQL, right? So with help of this PromQL we will be able to write that in a expressions and Prometheus language, and we can see that. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to see like in a request. So as soon as you will be type that in a request, you can see the Prometheus request durations per second, and there is a one like in a statement is there. So here you can see rate Prometheus HTTP request durations in second, and then sum followed by the count. So what it is happening, we are seeing that in a total or like in durations Prometheus request durations sum, and then they are divided by the count. So you can also use that in arithmetic operations and many more in that in a Prometheus. You can also use that in a selector, right? So and matchers. So here you can see I want to find that in a result. So let's see for sum and in the tabular format, and you can see I want to find that in a Prometheus with a let's say only this value. So just we have to copy that and paste it over here. So only one result will become, because we have place that in a selectors. So selectors will be only work on that in a with help of a curly braces, and then we have a range vector. So with help of a square bracket I can say into that in a 2 minutes and execute it. So now it's saying that in a no result. Okay, so in 2 minutes it may be it is not there for that in a this particular SQL expressions. Now what I'll do, I'll just keep that in a job and instance, and I'll remove that in a this API and then execute it. Now if I'll go and again put that in, let's say 2 minutes, now in that case you can see it's getting the data. Now another thing you have to understand, in our configurations file we have put that in a scrap interval as a 50 seconds. You can see here I put that in a 2 minutes. Now I'm going to put that in a 1 minute and execute it. So ideally in 1 minute how many scrap need to be happen? 4, because we have put that in a 15 second, right? 1 5. So 1 5 second, 15 second multiplied by 4 equals to 16. 1 minutes. So in 1 minute it's saying the 4 result in a each and every one. Now if I'll say that in a 2 minutes, so you can see the data will be there as a 8, because in 1 minute 4 times scrap is happening. One more thing, don't keep it like in a very less time for a scrap, 5 second or 1 second. Otherwise your system consumptions will be more. It's depend on that in your uses. So these are that in a high level. I'm going to publish that in my next video on that in this for how to use that in a Prometheus with a Grafana and many more. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe it.